Hi, welcome to another episode of my proven sales letter breakdown challenge that I'm doing for 90 days. So if you're new here, during this challenge, I take proven copywriting examples, I break them down and analyze them, and I create daily videos from them. Today, actually, I'm going to be focusing on a new type of sales page written by Ramit Sethi. He's a well-known guy in the personal finance space and also the how to start a business, how to start freelancing, how to make money on the side niches as well. But this one, actually, this sales letter is meant for CEOs or successful people who basically have a business going, but they're working too much, their work-life balance is off balance, and they're trying to free up more time in their lives so that they can focus on the things that are actually making an impact in their personal lives or in their professional lives. So it's called Delegate and Done. And this is a great example of a modern day sales page that you can also use. So all in all, it's like 25 pages. So I'm not gonna cover it in super high detail, like granular detail, as I covered some shorter ads before, but I'm going to go through the entire structure of it, and I'm going to show you like what's happening here, what's this element doing, what's that other element doing, and then also how can you also replicate the same structure. So this is going to be more regarding the structure, not necessarily about very micro details regarding the copywriting itself. However, the first part, like if you've been following me throughout this challenge, you know that the first part is super important in any sales message. So the headline, the so-called lead, the first like 100 to 400 words of a sales message, they're critical to get people to actually read the rest of the sales page itself. And this creates curiosity in people. This hooks them emotionally. This kind of makes them, give a shit about this whole thing. Okay. So here in this case, I would imagine that the lead itself is so short. It's just this. So actually, we have a very short headline, so it's nothing like a proven headline formula or something. This is just a short question, and we have basically 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, let's say 5 paragraphs, okay? And that's the lead. That's it. And sometimes you don't necessarily need more. Before I actually, break down the lead itself, 2 things that I want to mention very quickly. First of all, as I said, this whole promotion, this whole sales page is meant for people. So the target audience is probably people who are already earning several $100,000 a year, either as solopreneurs or CEOs or some type of business owners. Okay, so this is for successful people who don't really mind the price of this course, and it's not that expensive actually. It's, if I remember correctly, it's $1,000, which for a CEO type person isn't like much money, especially when they can spend it from their business account, when you consider that they can save so many hours per week. So it's kind of a no-brainer. So that's the first thing. The second thing I want to mention is that it's always wise to really figure out. So before you write any type of sales message, it's critical that you figure out like what's the warmness of the audience that you're writing to. Okay, this is called the stage of awareness, and this type of sales message is written for problem-aware people. So this is for people who know that they have a very real problem. They are overwhelmed. They feel like they don't have time. They feel like their lives are made up of never-ending to-do lists. And I can also relate to this as well, and a lot of other people can relate to this. And it's very important to keep this in mind, because the whole headline, the whole lead, and the whole arguments inside the sales page itself totally depends on whether your target audience is problem aware or solution aware, or maybe they're even product aware. Okay, so this just means that this whole sales page will work pretty well for warmer audiences, but it can also work relatively well with cold audiences. So for people who've never heard about you before, it can work reasonably well, but the way how this course was sold was through email marketing, mostly because Ramit has a very big email list. What he does is he creates a lot of content in all types of topics. He gets people into his ecosystem, in his email list, and then people on the email list get a bunch of content as well, but periodically they get promotions. And this was one of those promotions. So you know that people who are receiving this have shown some type of interest in Ramit's content before, or this specific type of content, like productivity, or like how to get better work-life balance, okay? So we need to know these types of details before we actually take a closer look at this sales page, because everything will depend on these specific things. So just remember, this audience is problem aware, so they mean that they know that they have a problem, they just don't know how to fix it properly, and it was probably a warmer audience. And because it was probably a warmer audience, it totally makes sense to like announce the name of the course like immediately, Delegate and Done. So this just shows this is a straightforward branding element, and it's there because people have already heard about this course in Ramit's emails. Okay, so when they click on one of those emails and they get to this sales page, they already have an idea that he has a course. They might not know what's inside or like whether they need it or not, but they have an idea. So this is nice to just reiterate the whole branding part once again. Another interesting thing that happens because of this is that there's a call to action button at the top right corner. So it's a ready to buy. And this is for people, you know, there's always like the top 3% of people, let's say, on any list or any group, like bigger group, who don't really need much convincing at all. They just want to buy the course and that's it. Or they trust Ramit automatically because they've bought several things from him before, and you know, they just click here and they don't want to read the sales page, they just want to buy the thing because they trust Ramit, okay? And for those people, we have this button here. And this is very important because you can scoop up impulse buyers with this, or like hyper responsive people. So these things can only happen because this offer was going out for a warmer audience. If this goes out to a cold audience, this wouldn't be a good idea, because like people have never even heard about you. Like, why would you want to bash them over the head with an offer right away? You wouldn't. So the headline goes like this: are you short on time? And that's it. No complicated thing. That's it. Because probably the copywriter who wrote this, I mean, I don't think that Ramit Sethi wrote this himself. He has copywriters working for him, but he's also a very, very good copywriter, by the way. So this is a direct question, and we call this a problem solution lead. So what's happening here, it's called a problem solution lead, and it's perfect for people who are in this so-called problem aware stage, because they just complement each other. Like, you mention a problem and then you hint at a solution, and that's exactly what's happening here. Okay, so we have a nice little graphical element here as well that, you know, basically highlights the issue, and the time factor, it just highlights it. And we just have just a few paragraphs, so I'm going to read it to you and let's see what happens here. So, how many hours do you spend every week on tiny mundane tasks that never really add to your life? That's the question, and it's a philosophical question because it makes you think as the reader, like, oh, every week, so it means like I have a repeated problem. Mundane tasks, that means that, you know, I'm not doing 80-20, I'm not doing the Pareto principle, for example. So it's an honest philosophical question. And then he kind of twists the pain a little bit, but it also dimensionalizes the whole thing. So he says those emails, those errands, the endless back and forth, and of course, the never-ending to-do list. So these are all things that the copywriter who wrote this probably extracted from the research. Because whenever copywriters write something, they do a ton of research. And these were the things that people like in the target audience were saying. They were probably saying like, oh, I feel so overwhelmed with emails, like responding to all those people, to all those messages, to the never-ending to-do list, like something breaks in my business. Now I have to do this. I have to create content. I have to create new offers. I have to do this and that and that. And it just gets overwhelming. And then immediately after the pain point, we have the solution, like teased. And that's why this whole thing is called problem solution lead, because you have the problem, But then the copywriter kind of paints the dream. He hints at a solution. So he says, imagine waking up and knowing all those tiny details would all be taken care of automatically, exactly the way you like it. And if you're in the target audience, you feel like, damn, I want that. So it's like, wow, like, is it really possible to solve this problem? And then you get the next paragraph, which is kind of like an answer to this question, whether is it really possible to solve this problem. And the copywriter says, today I want to show you the exact playbook I use to save 20 hours per week. Yes, 20. How? By hiring an assistant. I know, I never thought I'd do it either. So here's the problem, here's the solution, here's what Ramit is going to basically teach you if you take the time to read this message. Here's the unique mechanism on how he's going to teach you. And then very smartly, this is an advanced strategy, but it's definitely important. There's a slight objection handling element here by saying, I know, I never thought I'd do it either. Because what most people think, especially solopreneurs, when they get more successful, when they're earning several $100,000 a year, or even just $100,000, so they become a six-figure copywriter or business owner or online course creator or something like that. When that happens, they still feel like, yeah, but I'm the most important person in my business, so I should take care of everything. And it's like, I'm not a CEO. I'm not so important as to hire an assistant. Like, I know, everybody's telling me to do so, but why should I do it? And you know what? It's so strong that even I am in the same situation. So I know that I should hire an assistant, but I'm just still doing many things on my own because everybody keeps telling me, more successful people that I am, that I should hire an assistant because it's life-changing. But I still feel like, it's just not for me yet. I know that the time is gonna come, but I still have this objection. And that's why the copywriter used the objection here. So this is the lead, very short, punchy, but I think it's super effective. So after the lead part, usually what happens in modern sales pages, and from now on, we're gonna get more strategic, more high level, because we have 25 pages to cover. But like what you have is like a social proof element or like a credibility section. So we have media mentions here to immediately give the person behind the sales letter credibility. Because remember, some people might know who Ramit is and they trust him. And that's why there's a button here. But for most people, maybe they're like, who's this Ramit guy? I may have heard about him, like he has this book on finance or something, but why should I trust him? So what the sales letter actually does, and what most sales letters do, is that they systematically answer a bunch of objections, one after another. And for example, these relatively unique questions go like this, like who are you? Boom, you have the answer to that. Why should I trust you? Boom, you have the answer for that. Why should I care about this whole thing? Well, that's why you have a bunch of agitating the pain itself. Why should I do it now? Well, that's why you have some sort of incentive. Why, you cannot continue your life as you did because otherwise you're destined to fail. And questions like this. So basically, what a sales letter is just a sales argument that you would use on someone in a one-on-one discussion as well. People have a bunch of objections, and the sales letter preemptively answers those objections. That's it in a super nutshell. So that's why you have a headline, you have a lead to just create some buzz around these whole things, and then you start answering objections in various modules of the sales letter. So first, we have this credibility section. Then we have some very, very brief intro from Ramit with a picture as well, so that you can also see him. Then what can an assistant actually do for you? This specific part is kind of still the paint the dream part. So it's like it's basically highlighting how much better your life could be if you had an assistant. And he gives a bunch of examples. So like you can optimize your travel, you can optimize shopping, you can optimize gifts, questions, scheduling, all these things. And then we have just a high-level overview here, and then the sales letter unpacks everything. So for travel, we have a bunch of tips on how Ramit uses his assistant to basically set up travel so that he doesn't have to worry about these things. Everything is taken care of for him without his input in a way that he actually likes. So there's a system to it. And one of the main themes of this sales letter is that in order to be successful with assistants, you need a system. You need to systematize your life. And if you do that, then it's going to be painless. But if you don't do it, if you just try to wing it, then there's going to be, you're going to end up working as much as you would otherwise do, just correcting the mistakes that your assistant made, okay? So that's really important here, but it's also important to dimensionalize all the benefits that that the assistant can give you. So there's a bunch of examples on how you can optimize your travel, then how you can optimize your shopping, and we have screenshots on what exactly happens in Ramit's life, or how he optimizes gifts for some of his loved ones with the help of his assistant. Also questions, if Ramit has some questions, he just sends it to his assistant, and they're gonna research it, take care of it, and figure it out. That's their job. And also scheduling, because he's a busy guy, and we have specific screenshots on how he actually schedules meetings as well. And I know for a fact, for example, my girlfriend, she's a psychologist, a therapist, and she works with a lot of one-on-one clients, providing therapy to them. And she doesn't have this type of system. Even though I'm trying to tell her to have it, she's reluctant to have it. So she does tons of things manually. And then each week, he spends probably several hours each week doing basically non-productive work, in the sense that he's just sending emails back and forth, scheduling stuff with people, because she doesn't have a normal scheduling system, or a more optimized scheduling system. So after these 4 examples or 5 examples, we have 30 more examples of how assistants can help you. So this part is meant to basically just paint the dream, to just make people really realize how effective and how life-changing an assistant can be. And this is, by the way, useful whether you're, as watching this video, you're a successful business owner and how you can optimize your life with an assistant, or if you're maybe a VA or a very beginner copywriter or something, and you want to become an assistant, and what are the things that you can help busy professionals with. All these things, like screening calls, organized follow-ups, gather info and reviews, research questions, RSVPs to invites, track birthdays and anniversaries, social media, stuff like that, So after this part, one of the subheads says, why don't more people get an assistant? And then this is the question that actually readers also have. So this is the objection, and here's the answer to it. I'm not the kind of person who'd get an assistant. And I think this is super useful to include on this sales page, and notice how, and remember how actually one of the key things here in the lead was, I never thought I'd do it either. Because probably the copywriter, before writing this, and he did a lot of research, probably this was one of the main things that came up, that people, they know that they should get an assistant, but they don't feel like they are the type of person who would use an assistant. And what the sales page does from here on out is to try to convince people, try to persuade them that this is a false myth. It's a false belief. And most sales pages or sales letters, one of their main jobs is to also deconstruct false beliefs, so that people actually discover what they actually should do, because many times what they believe is incorrect. And this is the thing that this part does, is to realign people's views on what actually matters. And we have some pictures here about Ramit, when he hired his first assistant, he looked like this, and it just builds credibility. So that's probably the reason for these pictures. But you have basically a persuasive sales argument. How would I ever use an assistant? That's another. So this whole sales letter, if you notice it, it really shows how it answers a bunch of objections. So the whole sales letter is just a way to systematically, preemptively answer a bunch of objections. So as people are reading this, they are feeling this, and the sales letter brings it up before them actually bringing it up. So then there's the answer to this objection. Or like, how can I trust someone else to do this? Another big objection. Well, here's the solution to that. I need to get my ducks in a row before I can hire an assistant. Another big objection. So after deconstructing these objections, which are false myths that people are having, the sales letter goes into like, meet my assistant Jill, who saves me 20 hours every week. So this part of the sales letter, again, focuses on the benefits. So what an assistant allows you to do. You'll get more life, you'll get more satisfaction, you get 20 hours every week back. Like imagine it, that's a half shift. And for someone who's at Ramit's level, whose hourly rate is probably like $1,000 in productivity or something, that's $20,000. So every week, $20,000 every single week. Do you think it's worth it for someone who's in that situation to like pay $1,000 once to buy this course and from there on out save 20 hours a week, so $20,000 a week or $80,000 a month? Well, definitely, you bet. So, and you know, we have the same thing here in the sales letter as well by saying that's $5,200 hours saved. So like the past 5 years, Ramit used Jill, and this is the time that he saved. It's amazing. Like imagine this. It's like $5.2 million if you were to multiply this with the $1,000 hourly rate. It's crazy. So it's definitely one of the highest productivity things that you can actually do in your business. So after this part, after painting the dream even more, he introduces the course itself. So notice he didn't introduce the course in the beginning of the sales letter. He took the time to unpack the problems, to explain the false myths, to paint the dream a little bit, to give examples of what can happen when you have an assistant. And now that people who are kind of in the right target audience feel an emotional want for this, so at this point people are thinking, wow, gosh, you know, it really does sound good to have an assistant, but how can I actually do it? How can I pull it off? And that's why this is the right place where we introduce the offer itself, introducing Delegate and Done. So this is the name of the product. Discover the magic of buying back your time. So this is kind of the tagline, and this is like the unique selling proposition. This is the thing that makes this program super unique. It's like Delegate and Done is our brand new online course that gives you the systems, tactics, and tricks you need to find and work with a trustworthy assistant. So this is the unique selling proposition. It's a whole complete topic, unique selling propositions. I'm not going to go into more detail right now, but just know that whenever you introduce a product or a course or something, whether for your clients or for yourself, use this structure. Use the introducing, name of the product, tagline, unique selling proposition. And then this is kind of a relatively cookie cutter type of offer structure. So you introduce the product itself, you have a very high level overview of what this whole thing is about, and then you have a more detailed overview of what's inside the program. So this is like a program walkthrough. So you have a video, for example, a video lesson on this topic, like what can I actually hand off to a VA. You have a video lesson on Ramit's 3-step system for hiring the right assistant, you know, the whole system, the complete, and you have some bullets, you know, on what's included, so that this part actually is meant to build desire in people who are reading this. Then you have another module, then you have another one, another video, and then you have bonuses. So every single offer structure should have bonuses because people just love bonuses. So the first bonus, find the right assistant for you. So this is another probably thing that, you know, some people are struggling with. And as you can see, you know, you have the job application questions like done for you. You have Ramit's assistant job description, so like how you actually post the job itself. It's super valuable thing, and that's why it's a good bonus. Then you have bonus 2, start delegating work on day 1. So like like how can you audit your day and how can you find things that you can hand off to your assistant almost immediately, how you can onboard the assistant. And then you have a bonus 3 as well, like 30 to 30 agenda template. It sounds a bit mysterious, but it kind of it builds curiosity in you, but it does sound good, so it also builds desire. You have the VA decoder, how to use shorthand to save extra time with your assistant. So more advanced stuff that you can use with your assistant. And then enjoy the white glove treatment, another super valuable bonus with a bunch of stuff like Ramit's travel checklist and like giving checklist, a huge pain point for people. So basically this wraps up the offer part. So, once again, we introduce the product, name, tagline. This is optional, by the way. It's not always used, but the unique selling proposition is definitely used. High-level overview of the program, then a more granular overview of what's included in the main program, then bonuses. So we have 4 cool bonuses here, and then the Q&A, because once again, remember, a sales page's job is to answer a bunch of objections that people are having. So here's a bunch of objections that people are having and preemptively answered. Then we have a qualification element. This is also super like widespread in sales pages. It's like, this is right for you or this is not right for you, because a lot of people are wondering like, okay, so I get it, assistants are important and I love the program itself, but is it really for me? Like, does it help me? Can it help me? And that's why you have a bunch of bullets which describe who is this the right fit for. And also sometimes you also have a specific who is this not right for. Okay, here it's not, because probably the copywriter wants to qualify as many people as possible, but like you have the right for you if, then you have the guarantee, because, and notice it's not just like a, hey, if you don't like it, I'm gonna give you your money back, but it's like he really describes like why he's giving you this guarantee. Like there's a reason behind it. It's reason why copy. It's like, the reason for this guarantee is because I'm so confident in my program. I really want you to love it. And then if you're not satisfied, you can ask for a money, like you can ask for a refund within 60 days. Think about it, 60 days. It's pretty awesome. So then we have a pricing table. Start saving time today. This is the promise, the name of the program, and very smartly, this is kind of an advanced like pricing thing, but it's, you have 2 ways for people to buy. You have the installments, because you know that some people, they're always going to prefer installments, but this is 20% more expensive, because as you notice, it's 12 monthly payments of $997 and the one-time payment is $997. So $1,000 or $1,200 if you pick the monthly installments. But this is just there to, qualify people who have the cash right now and they want to pull the trigger, or for people who have the sense of like, okay, I want to try it, but like I want to see a return on investment almost immediately, and then I'm willing to only commit $99 a month for this. And this actually, the first version makes the second version look cheaper, and pay in full and save $191. So this is to encourage people to pick the upfront payment. This is also better from Ramit as well, because with installments for 12 months, a lot of things can happen in 12 months. Like think about it, like 12 months ago, COVID barely got started or something. Like it wasn't even in the news that much. And in 12 months, the world turned upside down. So as you can imagine, it's better to have money right now than 12 months from now. So that's why there's also a premium on installments. Then you have some, support things if you're having trouble buying. This is pretty cookie cutter, and I've read almost every single one of Ramit's sales pages. I was a big fan of his. I still am actually a big fan, but right now I'm focusing on different things that he's doing. He's more like beginner friendly, most of his programs, although he has some advanced programs as well. That's true. But like he uses this type of structure like many times. And if you know what goes in a sales page or a sales letter, you can definitely replicate this for yourself. Like, it's not that hard to do at all. It's just based on research and a proven structure. That's it. So after this pricing table, you have like another bonus. So it's like, we call it better than done. So this was kind of a live masterclass that Ramit did with some people, probably to beta test the course contents themselves. And he's also throwing this in if you join right now. So here's another recap of what you get. So you get this and that and that. You have some testimonial videos as well of people who've used this system. Also, from their perspective as well, like a tweet. And then we have the one final question for you part, which is kind of like a closing element. So many sales letters have this final, also called binary close, that they use. So it's like the aim of this is to make you think, is to make you feel like, so should I really continue my life doing the same thing that I always did, but that would probably result in failure? Or should I just give this a shot? I mean, it's reasonably priced, there's a money back guarantee, there's a bunch of bonuses that I get, it just makes sense. So it's like, it seems like an irresistible offer and I can't really lose, okay? So that's the aim of this one final question for you. And as you can see, the absolute final question is like, are you ready to change yours? So it's, the whole sales page begins with the question, are you short on time? And then it ends with the question by saying, are you ready to change yours? So it implies that, are you ready to not be short on time anymore? And then we have another, the main promise, start buying back your time today, Delegate and Done, the name of the product, and then the 2 pricing tables, and then some support elements, and also like credit card icons so that people actually trust this more. Other like seals of approval as well. But that's it. In a sense, it's super, I wouldn't say it's simple, but if you look at it at modular level, it's actually quite simple, because you have the lead, you have a paint the dream section, you have more dimensionalization of what's possible, you have reframing false beliefs that people have, you have another type of like how this works in my own life, so another type of like paint the dream kind of thing. Then you have the product introduction, the product overview, bonuses, Q&A, right for you if, money back guarantee, pricing table 1, another bonus, more testimonials, closing section, and pricing table 2. That's it. So in terms of like sales pages, believe me guys, this might seem complicated to you, but compared to like Agora sales pages or boardroom sales pages, this is pretty relatively simple. The structure, at least. The copy is also top notch. It doesn't sound complicated, it's just how people talk, and it talks about the right things. So the copywriter knows what people want to hear. They've done the research, probably multiple people, and then they're just talking about things that people in this specific target audience are interested in. So yeah, that's it for this one. I really hope that you found this helpful. If you did, then I'd appreciate if you liked the video and also shared it with others as well. Maybe another copywriter who are looking for guidance on how to write better sales pages, maybe a business owner, maybe a friend or something. I'd really appreciate it. And also, if you're not subscribed yet, then make sure to subscribe and hit the notification icon as well, because I'm releasing these daily, and then you'll be the first to know whenever I release a new one, and you don't miss any of these. So with that being said, thank you so much. Have a great day, and see you in the next one.